Down here in Binghamton, New York, the home of the Rumble Ponies, the AA affiliate of the New York Mets for Excite Wrestling. Our very special guest here on WrestlingInc.com, M-Dog, Matt Cross. And Matt, a storied career and such a cool event here today. Talk about this and getting a chance to have a day show out here on the field.
Yeah, it's a Sunday afternoon. Normally this time I'd most likely be sleeping. I mean, awake, being productive.
Right.
But let's be honest, I'd be asleep. So it's nice to already be done. But a great day. We're outside. The weather's good. It's still technically summer, I believe. So did some wrestling on a Sunday afternoon. You can't beat that.
Yeah, you really can't. And, we're diving into your career here today. And we've talked in Binghamton before, down to Legion and things like that, where Excite has some great shows. And you've had some tremendous matches over the years. And want to talk about some of your past experiences. I'm one of the original Tough Enough episodes, the seasons, and to working with guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and to get that perspective of your career. Looking back now, certainly such a blessing to be a part of that.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the biggest and most surprising takeaway was that, I'm half friends with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he called me after the show wrapped up, which I didn't expect, and I'm sure he wasn't contractually obligated to do so, and just sort of was very encouraging, and anything that he offered his help, and we're sort of in touch to this day. And anytime I've ever called him, he's answered, and I sort of have this open platform with him to kind of pick his brain and stuff. So it's really crazy, and he genuinely cares about wrestling and the guys. So it's sort of refreshing and cool, and he's everything you want him to be. Mm-hmm. He's not just a character. I've called him, and he's like, "I'm fixing to take a lap around the pasture," and you're just like, oh man, okay, this is what he really does, he's just on his ranch and just a straightforward guy. So that was the coolest part of the whole experience for me. I mean, obviously, because it was so intimidating, just the thought of meeting him, and then for him to be so sort of encouraging was really nice.
Yeah, it certainly, as you hear the event, clanging and banging behind us here with the announcing going on, but here in Binghamton, and you do hear that. It's so refreshing to have guys who support each other in any industry, let alone wrestling. And, for your career, obviously American Ninja Warrior, a lot of people reference that for you, Lucha Underground, AEW, you're in that, match against MJF as well. Just talk about Ninja Warrior. I mean, how special was that?
I just had a high school reunion the other day, and everyone's like, "Hey, we saw you on TV," and it's a weird-ish question because you sound like you're going to be a jerk because you're like, "From what?" Because there's so many different. I assumed it was some kind of wrestling thing.
Right.
Everybody was talking about Ninja Warrior, which I did one time, but the reach of it, I guess primetime NBC. I'd love to do it again. It was a lot of fun. I just think a giant adult obstacle course is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
If you could do it and it wasn't televised, I'd be all over it. But you kind of have to be on the show, so I'm like, sure enough, whatever.
I'm there.
I just want to do it. I feel like my skills are suited for that, and it just would be fun, We ended up filming at 3 a.m. because the course has to be dark. It was St. Louis. It snowed earlier that day. You could see our breath. It was so cold and so late, but it's so nerve-wracking. I thought, okay, I'm a wrestler. I'm used to cameras. I'm used to lights. All these nerds aren't going to be used to this stuff. That's going to be my leg up on the competition. And we get there, and then I realize, wait, I'm used to cameras and I'm used to lights, but I'm used to doing what I know and love. I don't know what I'm doing here. So as I line up in the thing, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I should be at home asleep. I'm an idiot. If I fall off into this water and look like an idiot, I'm going to do it on national television. I'm one of the guys that tries to... I did 11 years of competitive gymnastics. I still eat the same way, train the same way, think the same way. I still feel like I'm doing competitive gymnastics. So I want our sport to get that same sort of respect. And it's not... I didn't leave one of the world's toughest sports and then go, I could take it easy in wrestling. I mean, the guys that have done well in pro wrestling are guys like Kurt Angle, who's an Olympic gold medalist. So that's the mentality I want to carry forward at all times. So taking that into Ninja Warrior, I was like, I have the weight of the industry to some degree on my back. If I fail, we all look bad. I want to do well so people are like, oh, maybe these hokey wrestlers have something to them, which you shouldn't be thinking of at the starting gate.
No.
So I signed up for the show thinking this will be fun, and when I got there, I put all this undue pressure on myself. So I was happy. I didn't fall in the water, but I'd love to do it again. I've taken up rock climbing since to kind of improve my ninja-specific skills, and I'd love the opportunity to do it again.
That'd be pretty special. And what's more nerve-wracking, the high school reunion or Ninja Warrior?
Definitely Ninja Warrior was scary. The high school reunion, everyone, it's like the telephone game, so people have just heard tidbits of what I do, so it sounded way cooler. Yeah. So they're like, "You're the most famous person ever," and it's like, no. They all thought it was way cooler than what it actually is.
Well, you never know what the future's going to hold. Certainly your career, an amazing career so far. It's still more to come. Wanted to ask you about AEW. Obviously, you took on MJF, and arguably right now, they had a big event last night, crowning their first champion, and Chris Jericho with AEW. But MJF considered one of the top heels, if not the top heel, in that promotion right now. And you've had a chance to clang and bang with him in the ring.
Yeah, several times. We wrestled for Fest Wrestling in Florida. We wrestled for Old Timey Wrestling in Ohio. We wrestled at Limitless in Maine. So at All In was my favorite match that we've had. So, the biggest audience, that was the time to really pull it all together, and we did. I was really proud of it, and we were in a position starting that show off that I think people overlook a little bit, because first matches are really where you set the tone, especially with a new product like that, where they're trying to change the entire industry. Not to say that if we had flopped, the concept would flop, but it's the first taste of this stuff, what is essentially now the pilot for what is now All Elite Wrestling. So, the pressure was on for us, and I think we were put there because they believed in us, and I like to think that we delivered, and I had a great night. My flight was at 8 in the next day, and I decided to be at the airport at 7. I didn't even go to sleep, so I was awake all night, just it was the most, fired up I've ever been. My buddy was there in the back with me, and probably shouldn't even admit to any of this stuff. I was like, we have to fight, dude. We have to real life fight right now. And my buddy's just like, can we not? But I had that much energy where I was like, either you and I fight, or I'm going to the parking lot and just punching people. But I've never been it was just this unworldly adrenaline rush where it's an uncontrollable. I was like, let's go. I'm straight edge. I don't even drink. And I'm like, let's go get in a bar fight, right now, because I can take on 100 dudes. It was the most psyched I've ever been, but that's why we do this, right? It was such a pure moment, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. And it was great because I've done big shows with big crowds, but we were doing tours of Spain where it's 10,000 people every night. I did 70,000 people in France, 22,000 in Mexico City. They've always been overseas. So to have that experience with my buddies in the United States, I was like, here we go. Finally, I've been working however many years to do this in the country that I live in. Right. So it was just an incredible experience for that reason as well.
And we're talking about AEW, WWE, all these big promotions, and obviously AEW is making so much of a splash right now, and it's the sizzle of it right now that a lot of people are looking at, and they're loving. And so where's the future hold for them in your mind? Obviously they want to keep getting better, getting stronger, and certainly what's the future hold for you as well?
I think for them and me, it's the same thing. It's just opportunity. What a great time to be a wrestling fan. Things haven't been like this in the modern era, for 20 years, since 98, 99. And we've been sold false alternatives so many times. We're this is the new whatever, and it ends up just being WWE Light or Diet WWE. And finally, all of a sudden, the stigma is being removed. We're allowed to wrestling, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. It doesn't have to be just for children. There's different, and we're all coming together and just enjoying that excitement. So it's a great time for them to be involved and to bring new fans involved, and I can't wait to see. I'm 20 years in, and I feel like I'm getting warmed up, and not in some kind of cliche whatever. I know for a fact all my best matches are coming, all my best feuds are coming, all my my biggest fans who are gonna buy my socks and wristbands, they don't even know I exist. They're somewhere in the world, they've never even seen me, and that's what pushes me forward, because I'm oh man, these people that are going to sustain me for years to come don't even know I exist yet. So I don't know where I end up, but I know that what a time to do this. And even if I stay in independent wrestling, I feel like I'm the last independent wrestler in the world right now. So I'm so busy. We're sharing off camera that next week I leave for a month. So it's we're going to Switzerland and France and Belgium. Belgium will be the 27th country I've wrestled in. Wow. So to do that with no one pushing me and just my own. I'm a punk, so to do it that punk rock way and just the true DIY spirit of going out there and just making things happen without a blueprint or an outline, I take a lot of pride in that, and I just, it's awesome to the cliche of I'm doing what I love for a living, and it hurts really bad, but it's also awesome.
I know. Well, Matt, final question right here for WrestlingInc.com. Is this right here? You've been in so many just curtain sellouts, just barn burner matches that have really stolen the show. Your style of wrestling is second to none. And what makes a great wrestling match?
Match or wrestler?
I guess match.
Oh, boy. There's so many factors, and a lot of them are intangible, and I think that is like the drug-like aspect of this, because we always experience it, or we hope to experience it like once in our lives, like something like All In, where me and MJF, and you get so high that it's a combination of the competitors, the audience, and that's what I like about wrestling too, because it's like this symbiotic relationship where if you and I play a basketball game and no one's there, the results still matter. It still counts. It still goes in the record books. But you can't have a wrestling match in front of nobody. It doesn't work. It's not, the art form doesn't unfold in front of no one.
Right.
So we're all in this together. So you can have the best match ever, but if the crowd isn't where it needs to be, it's nothing. You can have the best crowd ever, and the wrestlers aren't where they need to be. So you're just hoping for that perfect moment, and a lot of it's like, if not all of it, is like unpredictable. You know, sometimes it's just these magic moments, and that's what we're all after. You know, like I said, I hate to make a drug reference, but that's what it can be like, and it's like that's what we're searching for, because we've all experienced it. So a lot of it's intangible. You know, you don't know what's gonna bring the crowd that alive. I mean, of course, there's inside of this and that you hope to make it work, but sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and you just hope that all those pieces fall together, and it truly creates magic. And the fans know it too, because they all have whatever their favorite match is, their favorite moment. Like, I don't even need to explain it, because it's like a lot of nonverbals, you know. Right. It's like we all know those things that we've been attached to in wrestling, and those moments, and where that magic comes together, and that's what makes it good. So you do what you can to hope to create those moments.
Yeah, well, Matt, I think there's plenty more, certainly in the future. And thank you so much for taking the time for us right here at WrestlingInc.com. M-Dog Matt Cross, he's going to be hitting a ring near you very, very soon. We're checking out.